Okay, we are recording now, just so everyone knows. Race, were you okay with doing the assignment this week?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. This week's topic was actually one that I actually had to go through and pay attention to a lot more. Compared to past weeks, it's been pretty simple and straightforward. Did anybody have trouble figuring out or coming up with a explanation or an example for it?
Well, I don't really know if I gave the right example for it. I forget what the question is completely, but I don't know if I gave like a good example, but that's the game.
So it was give an example of a principal who is held liable for the acts of an agent because of direct or indirect liability, and then explain whether liability is direct or indirect and why.
Oh, I remember my example now.
I kind of just went straight forward with the book where an agent is acting in full discretion for the principal, and then he signs off on a contract with the third party that he is acting the agent in between, and that he signs it as president, so as whatever the principal's job title was, and that's a direct liability for that reason, I guess.
It's probably far better than my example. I didn't really research it all that much. I just kind of guessed on what it meant. But I put something along the lines of Dave is the CEO of Tiffany's Jewelry. He hires an agent to go find new diamonds for him that are cheap. So the agent knows a diamond smuggler that has illegally gotten most of his diamonds and signs the deal with him, not telling the Dave, the CEO, of where the diamonds are coming from, just saying that they're super cheap. So Dave agrees, and they all get busted, and it was like unintentional liability or whatever that thing is, because he didn't know, but he's still liable for it.
The indirect.
Yeah, indirect.
Good one.
You can call it that.
So mine's probably totally wrong, but I used an example of, the Google like self-drive cars or whatever that they have now. I used an example of like one of those crashing into the side of a city bus because it didn't like detect it, and that Google would be directly liable for that.
What about you, Jacob?
So my example is basically that when I'm trying to remember what I put. I think it's completely off topic of what it was, but I think what did I put? I put something about how I think it had to do with guns, where like somebody ended up like robbing somebody at like a gun store with a gun, and because they sold them a gun, I don't know, that it was directly liable to the person. Like someone brought in ammo or something and like took a gun and like held them up, because I think it was completely wrong. Something like that.
Sounds like it's going in the right direction.
What was that?
It sounds like it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, someone was. Normal.
Okay. What do we want to do for
I mean, yours was the most researched and confidently done, I feel like. So
mine's just done with a bunch
I
of
agree.
the book. I can read you.
yeah, I didn't look at the book.
So yeah, fact of the agency and the identity of the principal are usually disclosed in any contract with a third party. So it said if there's a contract between the principal and the third party, and then there's the agent who negotiates the contract and signs for the principal's name, they're obviously the agent. And if they use any words such as like signed by or signed for the principal, and then signs whatever the principal's employment capacity is. So if they're like the president of sales, if they sign their name or the president of sales, then that is showing that the principal is going to be held liable because they gave full disclosure to the agent to act in their name. I'm just trying to think of a way to put that into a question that can have multiple wrong answers. But
just say who is liable, or I guess multiple people would be liable, but
I like your example though, Ray, with how there's a little bit of indirect liability because the principal did not know who the third party was. He just knew that the agent was going to get the diamonds. The agent still had the full disclosure to act in the principal's name, so he went ahead and signed off, and so the principal or Tiffany's would be held accountable for those diamonds.
okay.
Is that making sense to people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So do we want to use trays then?
yeah, we'll use Trey's example.
Oh joy.
Way to go, Trey. Way to be the all-star here.
Go Trey, go.
All right, you want to run me through it one more time so I can type it up?
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up just so I know exactly where you're looking. Okay, so our example will be Tiffany's hires a buying agency to act in their name to find diamonds for their jewelry. The agency buys diamonds from a third party who got the diamonds illegally from Africa or something. And then when or they like after Tiffany's receives the diamonds and puts them into their jewelry, they get in trouble for buying illegal diamonds. So then you can that can be like our example, and then the explanation of the example you can just put
It's been either in the corners or like right where your head is.
like the topics. You can just put
Okay.
a principal can be held liable for the acts of an agent, whether it be direct or indirect liability.
All right.
Okay. And so our question would be, who would be liable in court for the purchase of the diamonds? The correct answer would be Tiffany.
Tiffany's.
And the correct answer feedback would just be they gave full disclosure to the buying agency to act 100% in their name.
Okay, then what do we want to use as our wrong answers?
So one would be
Agency.
Agency, yeah.
and the feedback for that one would be they were given full disclosure, so they were acting for the principal or for Tiffany's. And wrong answer 2 could be the customer who bought jewelry from Tiffany's. And the feedback would just be they had no
like involvement in the purchase of the diamond.
Yeah.
wrong answer 3 would just be the company who sold the diamonds.
Cool. All right, I think I got it. Clean it up a little bit, we'll be good to go.
Okay, so just make sure that in the example it states that Tiffany gave full disclosure to the buying agency to act in their name, just so it's like straightforward. And I will send you the link, Grace, once we're done with this. I'll just send it in the email.
Okay.
Okay. So just work on the group project and we're good.
When's that due?
I think it's due tomorrow, so if we can just get it, like, knock it out tonight, I'll get it submitted.
And where are we putting it all together?
It's just on Google Slides. If you need me to reshare you on that, I can.
Yeah, if you could reshare that, that'd be great. I didn't see any emails.
So I'll get that sent over to you. But other than that, we should be set.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Sweet.
See you guys later.